There were flashpoints all around the world in 2025, in the Middle East, in Europe, in Asia. Kyle Matthews is with the Montreal Institute for Global Security. Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
So, Kyle, the story that made a lot of headlines this year involved Gaza and Israel.
Yes, the war between Israel and Gaza, and then how it overthrew and involved Iran and Hezbollah, has been the story of the last year and a half. It's led to civilian deaths in Gaza. It's led to deaths in Israel, and it's also led to destabilization and protests in our own country. So this is definitely a war, a conflict that animates passion and can destabilize many countries, and we should keep an eye on it going forward.
One country that got very little attention was Sudan, and there's a huge humanitarian crisis there.
Yes, Sudan has been over 2 years of civil war. There are more than 10 million people that have been displaced, upwards of 14 million people facing famine or food insecurity. It really is one of these conflicts that for some reason the world's not following it. The general public doesn't know about it, but it is by far the most devastating conflict, most devastating civil war we're seeing on the African continent.
And Kyle, it's been a year since Bashar al-Assad was ousted from Syria. Sanctions have been lifted. The country has been removed from some terrorism lists. But you say there's still a question mark about what's going to be happening there.
Yeah, Syria is by no means stable. We've seen different religious extremist groups attack minorities, the Druze on the border with Israel. We see them take out Bashar al-Assad's members of that community, the Alawites. So for a lot of minority communities, they're worried about where things are going, and there's still so many people displaced. The country has to be rebuilt. So it is by no means a fait accompli that everything is back to normal. It still is an extremely fragile state.
And one of your big concerns going into the new year, the war in Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm really worried about Ukraine. We see the U.S. government almost siding with the Russian government, making Ukraine give up concessions, land it hasn't given up, requests that that it's Ukraine, not Russia, that has to demobilize its military. Everything is lining up for more fear of more conflict there, and even European countries now are warning their citizens of conflict with Russia. So this is really going to be one of the main things we have to deal with, in Canada included.
And you say that the Indo-Pacific, Asia, also a big concern.
Yes. On the other side of the planet, China's been building up its military. It's been flexing its muscle. There are tensions now with Japan. There's fears of perhaps China looking at Ukraine and saying, I can get away with invading Taiwan. We've just heard about Jimmy Lai being imprisoned in Hong Kong. So this is another very part of the world that we're in a period of history right now that without the U.S. leadership, we don't know where things are going, and we really have to brace ourselves for possible conflict between countries.
So overall, Kyle, how do you feel going into the new year? Do you see any resolution anywhere, or do you think we can just expect more escalation?
I'm extremely worried. I'm not a negative person, but I do think many stars are lining up, and it's really a conflict between states that worries me the most. That has a potential to result in large-scale human rights abuses. So we have to prepare, we have to deter, and we have to be realistic and realize that we have to stand up with our allies and democracies in this increasingly fragile world.
You know, Kyle, when you say you're not a negative person, and when people who say they're not negative say they're worried, I worry. So thank you very much, though, for your analysis, and I guess we'll be talking to you about more of this in the new year. So thank you very much for all your insights the past year.
Thanks for having me on.